All right. So this is our final type of concept that we need to be able to do on this unit. Okay, so we're about to close up Unit 6. Now, this one has a next level. We're going to level up, okay, on our algebra skills. Okay, so that's what we're going to practice. And we're going to have 2 problems where we're solving for the standard deviation and 2 problems where we're solving for the mean. So unfortunately, you're only going to get to practice twice on this. But then you'll have the assignment that you'll start on the next lesson, and you can practice then. Okay, so here we go. So we see our problem here. We've got just, it's not context, it's just going to say, can you go through the motions of doing the work? So here we go. For each model described, find the missing parameters. So find what's missing. So we know first off that we're going to start with our mean of 1250. Then it says 35%. So I'm thinking already to myself, oh, I'm going to use the percent to get the z. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking of in my mind. Okay, it says 35% of the data is below 1200. Okay, so let's see. If I'm going to use 35% to get the z-score, and standard deviation is what is unknown, then what does that mean the 1200 is? That must mean that the 1200 is the x value. Okay? So that's how you came to that conclusion, that the 1200 is the x value. All right. So let's do that. Oh, wait, we still got to find the z-score. Okay. So let me think about this. 35% is below this number. Okay, so I know it's less than 50%, so I'm going to put it over here. So here's 35%. So it is the area below. So I'm good. I'm going to go inverse norm of the area below is the z at that spot. So there's my 0.35. So here we go. So I'm going to do inverse norm of the 0.35. So my z-score is negative 0.39. Okay. So now I just really want a lot of room to be able to write and show you how to do this algebra. So I'm going to scoot on over to a blank page and rewrite this out. So I know that, remember, so I'm going to fill this in. My z equals the x minus the mean over the standard deviation. Okay. So a second ago we just solved that the z-score is negative 0.39, and that equals, we have an x. We were told that the x was 1200 minus the mean of 1250. So remember, the problem had the standard deviation as the unknown. Okay, now, on those other problems, which I made you do a lot of, so you should have this process down, okay? So hopefully that's going to make these easier. What did we do first? The first thing we did was get rid of the denominator. So we got rid of this bottom number by multiplying both sides by that denominator. So there gets rid of that standard deviation on the bottom, and over here on the left, these are going to multiply together. Well, those aren't numbers. So remember how we like to write things with the number in front of the variable. So that's 0.39 standard deviations equals, and so can I just save some time here and go ahead and subtract that? 1200 minus 1250 is negative 50. All right, so now how do you solve this? If you have negative 0.39 standard deviations equals negative 50, well, I hope you know that we end up dividing by this negative 0.39 to get rid of it. Divide by negative 0.39. So on the left it cancels, and what we have left, sigma equals 128.21. And that is done. Okay, so there's how you solve when that sigma is the unknown. All right, so let me let you try this next one here. Very similar. So let's have you do that. Go ahead and pause the video and try that one on your own. Okay, so I can tell that my mean is just right there, 0.64. The standard deviation is the unknown, so I'm just going to go ahead and write that in there. Okay, and remember I say to myself, oh, I'm going to use 12% to get the z. Now, so then that must mean that 0.70 is the x. But here's the problem. This 12% is the part above. So if 12% is above, we need our calculator to do the area below. And 100 minus 12% is 88%. So I'm going to use 88% to get the z-score. So remember, the percent is not the z. It's not the z, but I'm going to use the percent to get the z. So its inverse norm of 0.88 is the z at that spot, and that is 1.17. Okay, so go algebra it up, and let's see how you do. We are going to start here. I'll just go ahead and write out our formula. So our z-score was 1.17 equals x minus the mean over the standard deviation unknown. That's our sigma. That's our variable. Okay, get it off the bottom. We don't want it down there. Multiply both sides by standard deviation, and then the ones on the right cancel, because I have one on the numerator and one on the denominator, so they cancel. So on the left, I'm going to rewrite it as 1.17 standard deviations equals x minus the mean. And now I'm going to finish it up. Add 0.64. Oh, wrong. Wait, what's going on? Oh, look at what I did. Okay, see, that's okay. I resorted back to old habits. Do you see? So I knew there was something wrong whenever I has the sigma left. Okay, but that's okay. If you did that, then you see I fall for it also. Do you remember on the previous page, we had said x was 0.70, okay? I messed that up. So then when I do 0.70 minus 0.64, I get 0.06. Okay, now I'm ready. I want to get standard deviation by itself, so I've got to divide by this 1.17. Divide by 1.17, and that comes out to 0.051. So very small, standard deviation, 0.051. All right, so that's the only practice you get on that problem. And then we have the other ones where we're solving for something even different. Okay, so let's do that there. Let me clear this page so that we can practice that. And let's take a look at parts C and D. So here we go. Part C. Okay, look, I see right off the bat. They tell me the standard deviation is 0.5. All right, okay, 90%. Okay, so I know I'm going to use to get the z-score. Okay, 90% of the data is above 10. Well, look, I can see my mean is unknown. Okay, so that must mean 10 is the x. Okay, now let's use this 90% to get the z. So it says 90% of the data is above. That's the top part. So that means 90% of the data is above. So what is the area below? 10%. So to get this z-score, I'm inverse norm of the area below is the z at that spot. So that z-score at that spot is negative 1.28. All right, so there I have it. I need to solve for the mean, but I have three things: sigma, x, and the z. So here we go. Let's write it on the next page. Let's fill this in. X minus the mean over the standard deviation. Okay, so let's fill in what we know. Here we go. Z is negative 1.28. X is 10 minus the mean. Okay, so that's going to be minus. The mean is a variable, and I'm going to divide by the standard deviation of 0.5. And I can see on an answer key that I was looking at, I put 0.05, so I'm going to have to fix that. So I might have to do some calculating here. Okay, so what do we do next? We are going to multiply to get rid of this 0.5 on the bottom. So multiply both sides times 0.5. So that goes bye-bye. And so when I do my negative 1.28 times 0.5, that's basically saying half of it is negative 0.64. Okay, and then that equals 10 minus the mean. All right, now listen up, people. Here's where a common mistake happens. So let's pay attention. Common mistake, warning, warning, common mistake. All right, so this, I want this minus the mean to stay in place. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the 10. Okay, don't you dare add the 10 because you see this. No, this minus the mean is going with that mean. Minus the mean is kind of going with that mean. This 10 is like an addition component or a positive component over here. So what's the opposite of plus 10? Minus 10. So I minus 10. And if you need your calculator to realize that those combine together and become negative 10.64, then so be it. And what gets brought down? The negative mean. So look, I got negative mean, negative 10.64. Okay, so you remember there's lots of different ways that you've probably been shown to handle this. You can multiply through by a negative 1 is probably the simplest way to think of it. Multiply by a negative 1 on both sides. This one, so negative 1 times that makes it a positive. Negative 1 times that makes it a positive. And that's how we finish it out. Our mean has a value of 10.64. All right? So, again, here is the big deal that the errors are made at. Subtract this number over and then change the signs. Don't forget to carry down that minus the mean. Okay. All right, so you try the next one. And let's see how you do. I'm going to go ahead and fill in some things here. %3 is below, so that's nice. Inverse norm of the 0.03 is the z at that spot. So that z-score is negative 1.88. So my x is, 3% is below this number, 2.02. And again, I know mean is what is unknown. Okay, let's do it. Here we go. Oh, yeah, let's show the algebra. Here we go. And clear out our old problem. All right, so z equals x minus the mean over the standard deviation of 220. Okay, so now let's see what we do. We're going to multiply by 220 on both sides. That cancels. 202 minus the mean equals, multiply that together. And I think if I did it correctly, it's negative 413.6. Okay, this is the place where you better watch out. You better not cry because you're going to get your algebra right. All right, so here we go. So we keep this minus the mean together, and instead I get rid of this positive 202. So to get rid of that positive 202, I'm going to subtract it. So let me just do different colors so we can see what's going on. Minus 202. Minus 202. So if you can't do integers, then do this in your calculator. Negative 413.6 minus 202 is negative 615.6. All right. And that equals this minus or negative mu. Okay, now I need to multiply through by a negative 1, so I changed both signs to the positive, and there I have it. 615.6 equals the mean, and there's your final answer. Okay, that's it. That's the end. That's all that you have to know how to do. So here we've brought back your math so that you can learn how to do your algebra.